Hi everyone! I'm so glad you're at Read Me a Story today. But Read Me a Story, we have an interview with Rachael, who works here at the Oxford Public Library. So I can't wait to hear what she has to tell us. So Rachael, what do you do here at the library?
I am the teen department head. I get to work in this fabulous teen department with the kids who are usually about 6th grade through 12th grade.
Oh, what a wonderful age. I have a bunch of grandkids that age.
They're a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun. And a lot of stress at the same time. They're always doing something new.
Yeah.
I bet you have to do things to keep them busy. So tell me, what kind of things do you do at the teen department at the Oxford Public Library?
Well, we have all kinds of programming available. We usually have something just out in the department for them to do. Obviously, because of COVID right now, things are a little weird, but usually we have like coloring and crafts they can sit down for. We have little posters around where they can come up with their unicorn name. We have
wait. I gotta interrupt here. What's a unicorn name?
So the unicorn names have like a list of names based on the month you were born, and then a list of second names based on the first letter of your first name.
Oh, how fun is that?
So mine was something like Blossom Happy Berry or something like that. So
that's a great unicorn name.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, okay. What other, and so you did unicorn names, and what other kind of things?
We do all kinds of things. We had Shakespearean insults a couple of months ago. We have Blackout Poetry out right now where they can grab a piece of paper and black out the words they don't want. It's a lot of fun. So there's always something out and about to do, and then we do have scheduled programs as well.
Oh, well, tell me about scheduled programs.
We're just getting ready to open back up so that we can have people in for programming, and we have some crafts coming up. We have book bingo where they play bingo and win books.
Oh, that's fun.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah. Well, how do you play book bingo?
You just play bingo, and then you get books for it.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
And kids love it. It does.
I love it.
It's an hour, and they get to see their friends and hang out.
Is it here at the library?
It is.
Okay, good. Because what teens like, typically, in my opinion, in my experience, which I hate to say how much that is, but is that they like to be together.
Yes.
That's what teens like the most.
Yes, and there are a lot of teens in the community who really love their library and want to come in and make sure the books are in the right place, and they want to cut the pieces for the programming and the crafts, and it really does help. It's
kind of great to have a workforce like that, too.
Yes.
And it's fun for them.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what are their favorite things to do?
Honestly, they love to come in and sit on the computers together and play games together. And it is a lot of fun, though.
Yeah. What kind of games do you have on the computer?
They can play anything online, so they do play things like Roblox and all the stuff they're into, which I have no idea what they are. I just walk by once in a while and make sure nothing is going on that shouldn't be. But but mostly they're just, hunting killers or, solving mysteries and talking between each other. So
that's fun.
Yes.
That's fun. Well, I need to hear more about this Blackout Poetry because it seems I need to wrap my mind around what that is.
Okay. I love Blackout Poetry. I do it every year when we do the program. You take a sheet of paper from the book and you just choose the words that you want to make your poem out of. And then you take a black marker and cross out the lines that aren't being used.
Oh, and then you end up with what?
It's like a found poem, right?
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So and it's easier than coming up with your words on your own.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Yeah. I was looking at you have a newsletter here.
Yes.
And it says that April is all month long is Poetry Month.
Yes. It's National Poetry Month.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. So this is one of the activities that you're doing for that.
It is, yes.
Yes.
We usually have a couple more things going on, but we are scaled back right now. So.
Well, tell me something that you've done in the past.
Well, I know we were planning for last year, right before we got shut down, to do a poetry where you could take a little piece of a poem and write it on a leaf and tape it to a tree. It was going to be very cool, and hopefully next year we can do it.
I hope so, because that sounds pretty fun. So, like, you would just put like a word on it, or
yeah, word, a little line, a lyric even.
Oh, yeah, because music is poetry as well. That's another teen thing.
Yeah.
Teen love music.
They do, and we do have a large music collection as well.
You do?
Yes.
So people come in and check out the music.
Yeah. They can check out CDs and take them home for 3 weeks and listen.
Oh, that's cool. My granddaughter really likes books on tape.
Yes. We do have some of those as well.
Yes. What's the most popular?
You know,
now?
there was just a series out. It was by Cass, and it was like The Chosen, The One, The Selection, and I never read them. Like, my mom read them and loved them, and the kids loved them. But that series, I ordered it, and the audiobooks are always checked out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So that must be a popular series. Who wrote them?
I can't remember her first name, but the last name is Cass.
Oh, good. And it's a series of 3?
I believe it's 4, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's hard to keep up, but
well, that's the other thing with teens is that they're fast.
They are.
Nothing else. They blow through whatever they're doing very quickly. Mm-hmm. Tell me more about the newsletter. How can people get these?
We always have flyers right at the entryway to our department that have our seasonal programs on them. So we do one for each season. Right now we have our spring one out.
Yeah. Well, and I was just looking through it. It looks like you have, there's a craft every week.
Yes, we really upped our crafts this time. We have make and take crafts or take and make crafts in this instance, but we did all kinds of cool ones like bouncy balls. We did dinosaur eggs. Yeah, we bought little kits so you can make your own bouncy balls.
Oh, how fun is that?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I might have messed up my first one, but
okay, well, it's a good thing they're free then.
Yes, exactly.
So if any of the teens want to come in and do one of these crafts, what do they do?
Well, we have them right at the entrance to our department, so they don't even have to go far in. They're in a little basket. We put them out every week. They can pick up what they want, and then we go until we run out. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
There are some of those kits left. They have, I believe the pigs are already cut out, and they can stitch them together, and they have a little hole to put coins in.
Oh, like a coin purse almost.
Yeah.
What a cute idea. I noticed there was a number of games actually when I came into the department. You do have some board games as well.
We do. Usually when we're open up more, you can come and borrow a board game and play it in the department.
Oh, how fun is that? Now I gotta know what's popular board game.
Twister. Twister is our most popular one. So.
Well, it sounds like you really enjoyed being the teen director or department head.
Department head.
Okay. How did you get to this place? If someone wanted to be a teen department head, what would they do?
Oh goodness. Well, when I started in libraries 20 years ago.
Oh man.
I didn't even know this was a possibility. But I happened to come across a director who wanted a teen librarian, and then I realized that I could get a degree in this.
You could actually go to college and get a degree.
I mean, so I did get my master's in library and information sciences, but I also specialized in the teen, which is one of the specializations you can take. So.
I never would have known that. Where did you go to school?
I went to Wayne State.
Oh, that's a really popular school.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a really good program, and I absolutely love what I do. It's amazing here.
It is?
It is.
What's your favorite part of your job?
I love the kids.
Yeah.
I do. I love hearing the gossip of what happened in the day and finding out what the funny joke is right now. It just makes my day.
It is true, and what things mean.
Exactly.
Because that could be kind of nuts as well.
And I'm always willing to admit when I don't know, so the kids are always willing to tell me.
When I walked in, and maybe these are books, but when I walked in, there was a huge amount of DVDs as well.
Yes.
Like movie DVDs.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. We have music CDs, we have audiobooks, we have the DVD collection. We have a collection of books that are for tweens, so that's meant to bridge the gap between the youth department and the teen department.
Oh.
They're a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to read, a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
And then we also have a massive graphic novel collection.
I don't know what that is.
They are comic books. And they're wonderful. We've got manga. We've got
they're all about this whole
superheroes.
Marvel thing.
Yeah.
And there's like an Iron Man guy and another guy.
And we have tons of them. So.
Well, I bet they love those.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I am so glad that you were able to come in or I was able to come in and hear all about the library and Blackout Poetry and all the books and more poems, right?
Let me see.
It looks like
so, yes. We do have some books written in verse, so.
In verse?
In verse, yes.
I don't understand what that means.
Novels written as poetry.
Holy mackerel.
They're super quick to read. I love them.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, that's good. I like super quick.
Yes.
All right. Well, it was so nice to meet you, Rachael. Thank you so much for joining us
Yes.
on Read Me a Story.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay. Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. Miss Pat here, and I have a Read Me a Story today that's a little different because it's a book that's a little longer. And it's about a story that I have heard, but not in a place. It's called the Korean Cinderella. I've heard about Cinderella, but I don't know too much about Korea. So I'm very anxious to read what this book is about. Let's read it. The name of the book again is The Korean Cinderella, and Shirley Climo is the one who wrote the words, and Ruth Heller, her friend, illustrated them. In fact, the illustrations are what drew me to pick this book. Look at there is such amazing artwork. Those are the illustrations. What beautiful pictures. Long ago in Korea, when magical creatures were as common as cabbages, there lived an old gentleman and his wife. For years they longed for a child to share their tile-roofed cottage. At last a daughter was born. Good fortune, the old man exclaimed. I'll plant a pear tree in the courtyard to celebrate this day, and Pear Blossom will be our daughter's name, the old woman added. You can see how happy they are. Both the tree and the child grew lovelier with each passing season. In spring, white flowers frosted the tree, and Pear Blossom wore white ribbons in her long black hair. I can see it. In the summer, when the tree bent with ripening fruit, Pear Blossom's mother wove a band of rosy gold into her hair. In the autumn, when the leaves of the trees blew about the courtyard like scraps of sunshine, her mother dressed Pear Blossom in a yellow gown. One winter day, when the branches on the pear tree were still bare, and they were still bare sticks, the old woman died. Oh, Aigo, wailed the old man. Who will tend to Pear Blossom now? He put on his tall horsehair hat and went to the village matchmaker. She knew a widow with a daughter, a girl named Peony, was just the age of Pear Blossom. 3 in 1, promised the matchmaker, a wife for you and a mother and a sister for Pear Blossom. So the old gentleman took the widow for his wife. Although Pear Blossom called woman Amani, or mother, she was far from motherly, and Peony was worse than no sister at all. That must be Peony. And Amani must mean mother. Amani found fault as soon as she stepped into the kitchen. Too cold, she grumbled. The fire's gone out. Fetch wood, Pear Blossom. Be quick. Pear Blossom gathered sticks and fed the stove until the lid on the tea kettle danced from steam. Too hot, her stepmother scolded. The noodles are scorching. Get water, Pear Blossom. Be quick. Oh, I can see by her eyes that she's an angry woman. Both Amani and Peony were jealous of Pear Blossom, and the harder she worked, the happier they were. Each day, Pear Blossom was up before high, or the sun. She cooked and cleaned until midnight, with only crickets for company. This is an interesting book. Another reason is, guess what? There are no words on this page. We just look at the pictures and we think about what might be happening. These must be the crickets that are keeping Pear Blossom company. And this must be her cooking and cleaning until midnight. Each year was worse than the one before, and her father grew too feeble to pay attention to Pear Blossom's troubles. Amani dressed Pear Blossom in rags, tied her shiny braid with a twist of rope. And now she and Peony addressed her only as Little Pig, or Pigling. Pigling has a pigtail, teased Peony. But nothing could hide Pear Blossom's beauty. At night, Amani lay sleepless, searching for an excuse to get rid of her as her stepdaughter. One morning, she told Pear Blossom, "The water jar by the door needs filling." "It leaks, Amani," Pear Blossom replied, "for it has a hole the size of an onion. Stubborn little pigs get tied up and taken to market," warned her stepmother. "Fill that jar." When Amani and Peony marched through the courtyard gate, looking behind them, Pear Blossom leaned against the tall jar. "Will no one in this world help me?" she asked. "Jug, jug, jugful," rumbled a hoarse voice. "Jug, jug, jugful." Oh man, I wonder what that means. "A tagabi?" Pear Blossom gasped. "A goblin? Oh, is that the goblin? Were you hiding in the jar?" Fearfully, she stood on tiptoe as she jeered and peered inside. A gigantic frog with bulging eyes stared back. "Jugful," it croaked again, and squeezed itself like a stopper into the hole of the jar. "As you wish," agreed Pear Blossom. For frog or goblin, it was best to do bidding. She hurried to the well and drew a jug full of water. When she poured it into the jar, not even a drop leaked out. When Amani and Peony returned, they found Pear Blossom resting beside the jar. "So," Amani shrilled, "off to market, little pig." "But Amani, the jar is full," Pear Blossom protested. "The frog helped me." "Trickery," snapped her stepmother. But she muttered to Peony, "A magic frog. Look inside that jar." Peony hung over the rib and saw only her own scowling face. And all of a sudden, the jar tipped, and a flood of water soaked Peony from head to toe. "Pigling's to blame," she said. "Someday Little Pig will get what she deserves," Omni declared. She made Pear Blossom crawl through the puddles, licking up the water. She is an evil stepmother. This is kind of like the Cinderella story. The next morning, Amani scattered a huge sack of rice around the courtyard. "Hull this rice, little pig," she ordered. "Polish every grain, or else," she shook the empty bag, "you'll be put in this sack and sent to China." That sounds horrible. Then Amani and Peony left for the village. Rice covered the ground like sand beside the sea. Pear Blossom threw her arms around the pear tree and asked, "Will no one in this world help me?" Wings whirled overhead and the flock of sparrows flew out of the tree. "Cheer, cheer, cheer," the sparrows called to Pear Blossom. They pecked at the rice, separating the husk from the kernel.
In a matter of minutes, the sparrows had polished the rice and piled it in a corner. Oh man, her animal friends are helping her. Oh no. When Amani came back, she found Pear Blossom nodding beneath a tree. Off to China, her stepmother began, and then caught sight of the mound of rice. How can this be? She demanded. Pear Blossom rubbed her eyes. Sparrows flew out of every tree and polished the rice. Birds don't hull rice, scoffed Amani. They eat it. But to Peony, she whispered, it's magic that's flying about. Catch some. She pushed Peony beneath the pear tree, and at once a cloud of sparrows swooped down. Cheat, 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 they chattered at Peony. They pecked at her, tearing her jacket, and they perched on her head, pulling her hair. Piglings to blame, Peony bawled. Someday little pig will get what she deserves, Amani threatened. She did not give Pear Blossom anything to eat, not that day or the next, not so much as a kernel of rice. Pear Blossom had food to fix, nevertheless. The village was having a festival, and she had to pack picnic hampers of dried fish and pickled cabbage for her stepmother. She also sewed a dress of pink silk for her stepsister. When festival day came, Peony mocked Pear Blossom, calling her a dirty piglet, stay at home. Pigling may go, said Amani in a voice as sweet as barley sugar, after she weeds the rice paddies. She handed Pear Blossom a basket of wilted turnip tops. Here is Pigling's picnic. I am most grateful, honorable mother, said Pear Blossom. When she reached the field, Pear Blossom dropped the basket in dismay. Rice rippled before her like a green lake. Weeding it would take weeks. Who could do such a task, she asked. Suddenly, a whirlwind twisted through the fields, and a huge black ox roared from a cloud of dust. Oh, it bellowed, tossing its great horns. This must be him up here. The ox began to munch the weeds, moving through the rows of rice faster than the wind itself. Each mouthful brought it closer to Pear Blossom. Even though she hid her face in her hands, she heard the crunch of its teeth and felt the beast's warm breath on her neck. Oh, this is a picture of that. Can you remember and imagine when the ox went through this whole lake of rice and munched on the weeds? And there's Pear Blossom. Her hands are covering her face. At last she dared to peek between her fingers. Both ox and weeds were gone. Hoof prints as big as cartwheels pocked the field, yet not a single blade of rice was trampled. And when Pear Blossom looked in her basket, she found the fruit and honey candy instead of turnips. What? She found candy in her basket and fruit? This is way better than just having wilted turnip greens. She bowed, then cupped her hands and called, 1,000 thanks, 1,000 thanks. Pear Blossom hastened to the village festival. That means she went there really fast. And the road which followed a crooked stream was rough with pebbles. Pear Blossom had slipped off one straw sandal to shake out a stone when she heard a shout. Oh, I wonder what the shout is. Make way for the magistrate. Ooh, that must be the magistrate. I feel like he's a very important person. 4 bearers, those are the people carrying him, and a palanquin, that's this chair he's sitting on, jogged towards her. In the chair sat a young nobleman dressed in rich robes and wearing a jade jewel in his top knot. And that's his hat. Flustered, Pear Blossom teetered on one leg like a crane, holding her straw sandal. Her cheeks grew as red as peppers, and she hopped behind a willow tree that grew beside the stream. As she did, her sandal splashed in the water and bobbed like a small boat just out of reach. There it is right there. "Stop," demanded the magistrate. He was calling to his bears, but Pear Blossom thought he was shouting at her, and frightened she fled down the road. The magistrate gazed after Pear Blossom, struck by her beauty. Then he ordered his men to fish her sandal out of the stream and carry it back to the village. This does remind me a little of Cinderella now that I'm thinking about it. At the festival, Pear Blossom forgot about her missing shoe. She watched the acrobats and tightrope walkers. She was dizzy. She listened to flutes and drums until her ears rang. She nibbled on treats until her basket was almost empty. Oh, look, this is at the festival. I can see the people dancing with the streamers and playing the flute and the drums. She was peeling the last orange when Amani and Peony came upon her. "Little pig," screamed the stepmother. "What are you doing here?" "I'm here because a great black ox ate all the weeds in the rice paddies," said Pear Blossom. "The same ox that gave me this orange." "Black ox indeed," Amani snorted. "Oxen are brown. You stole that fruit." She was interrupted by the magistrate's bearers. "Hear this," they shouted as they elbowed the palanquin through the crowd. "We seek the girl with one shoe." "It's Pigling," Peony pointed at her sister. "She lost her shoes." The bearer put the chair down beside Pear Blossom, and the nobleman held up the straw sandal. The magistrate had come to arrest you for stealing. Amani shook Pear Blossom. "Now you'll get what you deserve." "Then she must deserve me as her husband," said the magistrate. "What? Can you believe that just happened?" He said to the stepmother, "She must deserve me as her husband, for this lucky shoe has led me to her." "Another of Pingling's magic trick," hissed Amani, pulling Peony to the palanquin. "My daughter will give you 2 shoes. That is twice as lucky." The magistrate looked at Amani as if she had lost her wits. Then he turned to Pear Blossom and said, "I've luck enough if she wears this one and becomes my bride." Pear Blossom smiled, too shy to speak, and slipped the sandal on her foot. Amani stood staring stiff as a clay statue, but Peony ran right to the rice fields to find the magic ox. All she saw was a glimpse of the hooves as it galloped away. When springtime came, the magistrate sent a go-between to Pear Blossom's old father to arrange a grand marriage. Pear Blossom's wedding slippers were silk, and in the courtyard of her splendid new house, a dozen pear trees bloomed. "Wah, wah," chirped the sparrows in the branches. "Wah, wah," croaked the giant frog down below. That is as it was a long time ago, and as it should be. For in Korea, awa, awa means pear blossom. The end. This story reminded me so much of Cinderella, but instead of the prince, it was a magistrate. And instead of a fairy godmother, it was magical creatures. And I learned a little bit about Korea too. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks for joining me on Read Me a Story.